Have you ever made a movie in your mind whilst reading a book? This is called visualizing. And today we're going to look at the reading strategy visualizing, which is all about making that movie in your mind whilst you read. Good readers visualize the stories they read to create mental images from the book. Good readers will also use all their 5 senses to continually create images as they read. Visualizing is an important reading strategy that we use to help us remember what we have read and to develop deeper understandings of the text. So we know that authors purposefully use descriptive language to help their readers create a mental image of what is happening in the story. For example, let's look at this sentence. The sky was turning the colour of a fresh bruise. I know what a fresh bruise looks like. It's kind of that purpley browny colour. Well, I am creating a mental image picturing that colour in the sky. Maybe it's starting to get dark out, maybe nighttime. And another thing that the author does is I associate a fresh bruise with pain. So the idea of a fresh bruise in the sky isn't making me feel good, helping me create an uneasy feeling, a dark and gloomy type thought that maybe a storm is coming. Now we have looked at a short sentence and the ways that I visualize that sentence. Let's look at a section from chapter 1, From a Long Walk to Water, and create our own mental images of what's going on in the text. Let's keep in mind what I said before, that good readers will use all their 5 senses to continually create images as they read. So remember, when you visualize, you're making a movie of the text as you read it. So you'll want to be sure to consider all 5 senses, as well as any other details the author includes. Also, make sure you use your own imagination to help visualize your mental images. So let's read it together, and whilst I'm reading, I want you to close your eyes and create a picture in your mind of the scene. Think about what the scene looks like, feels like, and sounds like. Crack! The noise had come from outside. Was it a gunshot or just a car backfiring? The teacher stopped talking for a moment. Every head in the room turned toward the window. Nothing. Silence. The teacher cleared his throat, which drew the boys' attention to the front of the room again. He continued the lesson from where he had left off, then crack, pop, pop, crack, gunfire, everyone down! The teacher shouted. Some of the boys moved at once, ducking their heads and hunching over. Others sat frozen, their eyes and mouths open wide. Salvo covered his head with his hands and looked from side to side in panic. The teacher edged his way along the wall to the window. He took a quick peek outside. The gunfire had stopped, but now people were shouting and running. Go, quickly, all of you, the teacher said, his voice low and urgent. Into the bush, do you hear me? Not home. Don't run home. They will be going into the villages. Stay away from the villages. Run into the bush. He went to the door and looked out again. Go, all of you, now. Okay. I'll stop there. Everyone open their eyes. And let's think about the visualizations we all made whilst I was reading. Whilst reading, I visualized the story as I was reading it, and I used my 5 senses to create my own mental images of what Salvo was seeing, hearing, and feeling. So let's think about what that scene would have looked like. So I'm visualizing people would be running around everywhere. Everyone would look scared. Some would be in total shock. So there'd be lots of scared faces as well as blank faces. It would look very frightening outside the classroom, I believe. I'm just visualizing chaos. Now let's think about the feels like section. I imagine that Salvo and the other characters would feel frightened, confused, they'd be in a state of panic, and being told to not run back to their home and not having their families around would make them feel very helpless and alone. I'm imagining a lot of the characters in this scene would be very stressed out at this point, which would make them feel very sweaty, and they'd be able to feel their heart pounding in their chest. And under the sounds like section, I'm visualizing loud screams, loud sounds from the gunfires. There'd be lots of crying. I'm visualizing there'd be lots of yelling, so lots of different voices. But I'm also imagining silence coming from some people that would be in complete shock. And the people are running, so you'd hear footsteps and grass rustling. Now it's your turn to create your own sensory chart. In Partners, I want you to read chapter 9 and fill out the sensory chart that I've made for you. When filling it out, think about how Salvo and the other characters would have felt, what they would have heard, and what they may have seen whilst trekking across the desert. You can also use pictures to show your visualization as well as words. Good luck.
Created using Powtoon.